Friday hoping and wishing for a Bears win. I even threw my sequin jacket on. I thought maybe it would be lucky. Well, here we are. And today is Victory Monday. Doesn't it feel good? We could talk about that game for the next 3 hours. And we do have Cassie Carlson joining us in a bit around 1:45 p.m. But of course, we're not just going to look back. We're going to talk about the conversation moving forward, preparing for what's next, the next big challenge for the Bears. I'm Anita Blanton. I'm your host, and I will be with you through 4 p.m. Everybody, thanks so much for being here online with us. Let me tell you a little bit about what you can expect in this first hour beyond the Bears together. All right, so the rift between President Trump and the Fed chair is widening. It's even more heated today, maybe more heated than ever now that the Justice Department has served the central bank with subpoenas and threatened it with a criminal indictment over Powell's testimony this summer about the Fed's building renovations that are still ongoing. But Jerome Powell is not taking all of this in silence. In fact, he says that the renovations aren't even the real issue here. So I'm going to be talking with the professor all about it coming up. Also, hazing investigations, of course, are nothing new when it comes to fraternities and sororities, but we do have a twist that we're going to talk about today, one that at least I've never heard of before. One of the country's largest men's collegiate fraternities just announced it's pursuing civil damages against former undergraduate members tied to a serious hazing incident. So the president and CEO of Alpha Sigma Phi is going to be joining me live in just a bit. A really interesting conversation there about what they're doing and the hope that maybe it sends a message to others. But first, we start with a conversation on one of the most search topics on our website over the last week, the search for missing CPS educator Linda Brown. And for the first time here on Chicago Live, we are hearing from Linda's niece, Jen Rivera, who is joining me now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I do appreciate it. With so much going on in your family, I am so sorry that we're even speaking under these circumstances. Most of us really can't imagine what you all are going through, but can you maybe take us through the last week? How have things been?
It's been very difficult, obviously, for my family, and for me as well. I actually work in this field. I work with the missing, and I work with families all the time, which is really ironic, unfortunately. So that experience has been a blessing because we've known what to do. We've known what steps to take. It has been very difficult. It's been scary. There's been a lot of speculation and accusations because there's only so much information that can be released without jeopardizing the investigation. So we have been doing our best to conduct search efforts. That's really what we've been focusing on right now, and bringing Linda home, hopefully safe. That's what we're praying for.
I'm sure. I understand that you spoke with detectives this morning. Can you share anything about that conversation?
Right now, there really isn't any updates that we can provide, unfortunately. We're hoping that, over the course of the next week, maybe there'll be something. But right now, our biggest focus is the continuing to search the area, search the lakefront. That's what we were doing this past weekend as well. We had a huge outpour of support and love where we had our family, we had other volunteers that came to help us search, and we were able to cover a lot of ground. So right now, we're just continuing to focus our efforts on bringing awareness to Linda's disappearance and hoping that something comes up, whether she's spotted or seen, or additional surveillance in the area is, found. I know that detectives are working diligently now to find any additional surveillance that there might be of Linda. And that's really where we are right now at this point.
Yeah, I want to talk about a couple of different aspects that you touched on there. One, are any more of those search parties planned?
Yes. So right now, we will be conducting an additional massive search like we did this past weekend. That isn't scheduled just yet. We're working on the details, but we do have smaller search parties that have been continuing every single throughout the day, usually from the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So there has constantly been volunteers, search volunteers out there being boots on the ground. So obviously, we will be continuing to update everyone as the details of the next search, official search, is scheduled, and we'll be posting that on social media. I'll be sharing updates as well.
And have there been any moments of hope, any encouraging signs along the way thus far?
I think right now, the most important thing to focus on, obviously, is what hasn't been found. So we haven't found anything of Linda's. So we're still hopeful that maybe there's a chance that she's still on foot. She, as many people know, because it is public, she was seen crossing that bridge. She was never seen returning to her vehicle. But with all of our search efforts at this point, we haven't found anything of Linda's, no personal clothing items, anything like that. So we're hopeful that, again, hopefully she may still be somewhere within the Chicagoland area and alive and well. That's our hope.
Yeah. What's maybe been the most frustrating part of all of this? Is it the lack of, little clues along the way, or is it something else?
I think the biggest frustration really is the lack of not knowing, not finding anything additional. It kind of goes both ways. It's kind of a double-edged sword. We haven't found anything, so we're still hopeful she's out there, but at the same time, we haven't found anything. So we don't know what we don't know. And I think that's been the biggest part. Also, just allowing the detectives on the case to continue doing their job and doing what they need to do, just waiting for their updates as well. So we understand there's a process there, and we allow them to do what they need to do. But I think that's the biggest thing, because now so much time has passed. It's been over a week and we still don't have anything, so still hopeful that something will turn up, that we'll have some type of update in the coming weeks.
Yeah. How do you handle the chatter?
Well, I've taken a bit of the brunt of it, just being the spokesperson to kind of clear out rumors. Unfortunately, people are going to make assumptions. They're going to say what they think. I know a lot of people don't mean harm. They're just give their 2 cents and what they think, because there's limited information out there. But it does more harm than good in most cases. So in this case, trying to protect my family from that as much as possible. They're staying off social media and not paying attention to what's being said in the conspiracy theory, and just keeping focused on Linda, bringing her home.
So given the fact that you have worked in this field of missing persons cases, did you ever think this was possible, that you'd be on this side of it?
Honestly, no. You never think that it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to your family. It's been, like I mentioned earlier, it's been a blessing to have that experience, just because most families don't know what to do when their loved one is missing. And I just happen to have that experience with so many families and helping them spread awareness about their loved ones' cases. So it gives you a perspective too, and it's taught me a lot process being on the other side of it. So I, in the future, in my own work, I think going to allow me to help families even more and provide the things that they need that I didn't realize that they did need during this process.
Yeah. What got you into missing persons cases?
Well, a lot of it is from my own personal experience, sexual assault survivor. So it was always something that was really on my heart to assist victims and assist those that have dealt with him in some way or another. I have a media background. I have a lot of experience podcasting and production. I did that for many months and decided to go full force to nonprofit work. That's just where my heart felt called there. And so I've been there now for years in this space. And it's been very rewarding. It's a very hard field to be in, but being able to help families and spread their stories and get their loved ones information out there, and the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So I wouldn't change it.
I'm sure you've helped so many. It is unfortunate that so many families endure this in some type of way, varying degrees in time. You know, adversity can either bring a family closer together or tear a family apart. How do you feel like the entire family is handling all of this?
Honestly, I'm so proud of my family. I think they've done an incredible job by, the ups and downs and the emotions that are going on because of the unknowns. It's family so much closer together, if I'm being really honest. I feel like it has changed our family. It will never be the same, but at the same time, I feel like we've never been closer. So, and we continue to stay close this whole process. So that's also been a blessing in itself, is that it's brought everyone even closer together.
That's beautiful to hear. What would you say to people who have been following this so closely and hoping and wishing and praying for you all, and that maybe we'll see Linda again?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the support. We've gotten so much support, so much love, and my family is so appreciative of that. This already is just terribly difficult to go through in itself. So know that there's so many people that are supportive of us, that are Linda's case, that are out there, that are looking for her, that are just trying to be as encouraging as possible and praying for us. We appreciate all the prayers, and we hope the same. We hope that we can bring Linda home safe, and we just appreciate again, every day we're getting outpouring of love and support, whether it's through texts or social media. So please, the prayers coming is what I can say, and you to stay positive, and let's bring Linda home.
Tell me a little bit more about Linda. I mean, people know this situation, but tell me about Linda.
She's an amazing, incredible human. I absolutely love and adore her personality. She has infectious personality. She's one of those, I know a lot of people say this, but when she's in the room, she literally lights up the room. Her smile is just so big. She has this incredible laugh. She's such a caring person. And she's just the type of aunt that you always, the fun, outgoing, still always making jokes, always positive. I don't think ever been a time that I've ever seen Linda not being positive or with a smile on her face, even going through a difficult time, or she's always positive. Amazing teacher. I've heard so many incredible stories from students. Everyone just loved her. So really a strong woman, and it's devastating to know that as incredible as Linda is going through something like this right now, and just again hoping that turns out well.
There was a mention of either some mental illness or depression issues at some point in time. Do you agree with that? And if so, is she in need of medication or anything of the sort?
So yes, Linda does struggle with mental health issues. She treatment. So her thing, at least from what I can speak because of my recent conversations, was panic attacks. So she was struggling with panic attacks. So yeah, I mean, anything is possible, but it is very possible that she may be in some type of, medical intervention or something. So we can only speculate because we only have so much information, and Linda isn't here to speak to us. But yes, it's very, very possible.
Okay. How hard is it to stay in a positive frame of mind, especially as time goes on, that there will be a positive resolution, which would be her being back home?
It is difficult as the days go on. and more and more time goes by without finding Linda, knowing that she was last on foot. It is difficult, but again, at this point, we don't have any additional information to go off. So our best thing right now, try and stay in that positive mindset. And there's fluctuate throughout the day, but my family is again staying really close. So we're constantly encouraging each other. If one person's having a rough day and going through it, then the other person will encourage them, and vice versa. So again, it's really a big family support, and I don't think any of us have gotten through it without that. So just trying to get through day by day. It's hard. I'd be lying if I said it was easy to stay positive, but we're doing our best.
You mentioned that you're going to be posting some information once you all figure out maybe another search party, time, location for people to meet. Are there any other things in terms of next steps that you all are planning right now?
Right now, it's just focusing on continuing the show. We've made a lot of progress in terms of being boots on the ground and covering of the lakefront where she was last seen, north and south, but continuing our search is the biggest thing. That's our next steps, is just focusing on that, because you never know from day to day, something could come up, and we wouldn't want to miss it. So that is the best way that we're continuing to move forward and stay positive as well, is by focusing on those search and with all the support from the volunteers and the rest of the family. So right now, that is our focus.
Well, my prayers are with your family right now during this extremely difficult time. And please keep us updated. We'll be updating people as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking time. Very difficult situation that family is going through. And there are so many people who are watching it really across the country at this point in time to see any type of updates. And as she was mentioning, that she had heard from so many of Linda's, former students, or parents of those students. I think our Leslie Moreno, who has been following this story since the beginning, also spoke with some parents, and they just had nothing but good things to say about this educator. Again, a CPS educator, Linda Brown, who has been missing now for more than a week. We're certainly hoping that the outcome is good for this family, and we'll keep you updated on what happens from here. Those search parties, thank goodness for good-hearted people throughout Chicagoland who have been coming forth to try to help that family out right now. Just really can't even imagine what's gone through their heads. Let's continue on with our conversations here. It is 1:18, and I did mention that we have a major lawsuit that we're covering right now involving one of the country's largest men's collegiate fraternities. And it has a pretty unheard of twist. I'm not sure what would be a precedent, but I am glad that the president and CEO of Alpha Sigma Phi is joining me now, Gordy Heminger, to talk a little bit about what's going on. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, instead of me describing what's happening within your fraternity, would you please let us know what has happened and where you all are acting now?
Sure. Last October, a young man who was attempting to join our chapter at Rutgers University was seriously injured, nearly died, was hospitalized for a period of time, and it was a result of hazing that occurred to him. And not only did hazing occur, but the former undergraduate members of the chapter did not appropriately get him help. They called 911 but hung up. And because of those special circumstances and the egregious nature of this instance, we thought something different needed to be done. The chapter received extensive training on health and safety. They knew the policies, they knew what they should do, but for whatever reason, it did not change behavior that night. So in an effort to change behavior, and in an effort to keep people safe, which is our number one priority, we decided that we were going to file a civil lawsuit against the individuals in the former chapter who were directly or indirectly involved in the horrific incident that happened last October.
And it is such a serious situation. We have seen in some instances, worse situations that have played out at universities. Are you hoping that this sends maybe a broader message?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we're thankful that the young man is recovering and is alive, as the situation could have been far worse. So we're thankful for that. But yes, the intent of this is we want to send a message to all members of our fraternity, the parents of potential members, that we take health and safety seriously. We take your son's safety seriously. And we have no tolerance for hazing. And we have an amnesty policy. We were one of the first fraternities in North America to have an amnesty policy over 10 years ago. And if somebody gets hurt, we expect that the members are going to take care of that person and get that person help. So we have no tolerance for hazing, and we want your son, if he joins Alpha Sigma Phi, to know that he's going to get help if he gets hurt. And so neither of those things happened that night. Hazing happened and the amnesty policy wasn't followed. So we want to communicate this far and wide to all of our members and potential members that your safety is paramount, and we take it seriously, and we're going to use whatever tactics we need to use to keep people safe. And this is a tactic. We've never used it before. I hope we never have to use it again. Mm-hmm. But the circumstances of this case, this situation, was so severe and special and egregious that we felt something had to be done.
Can you go into more details about what exactly happened? I mean, hazing can mean a lot of things. I remember I was covering a story in Virginia where young men were trying to go across a river and the tide took them out, and they unfortunately didn't make it. What happened in this case?
So the event happened late at night, which was part of a violation of our policy. There were forced physical activities that happened. We believe alcohol played a factor, as we found empty bottles of hard liquor in the basement where this happened. Water became involved, and this new member was electrocuted and nearly died. And so none of that should have happened. The activities that night should not have happened. Had they not happened, had they followed our health and safety guidelines, this could have all been prevented. But even when things like this happen, we still expect our members to do the right thing, call 911, participate in a 911 call, and get that new member help. And that did not happen.
Oh, wow. These typically suits from families of those who have endured hazing have really been a burden on fraternities and sororities over the last several years. How has it impacted your fraternity that you're now kind of flipping things to say, hey, if we're going to end up having to have people come for us, we're coming for you?
Well, we want to send a message to all of our members and potential members that keeping people safe is critical, it's important, it's our number one priority. Nobody should be hurt because they join Alpha Sigma Phi. And so we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that happens. And in this situation, this is a tactic we're doing. You know, we've tried the education. The chapter at Rutgers was educated on our policies, on our amnesty policy, less than a month prior to this incident. And so despite that education, this still happened. So I wish I wasn't here. I wish we did not have to do this. But the education in this case did not work because they still engaged in this high risk behavior. So we're sending a message that, okay, we've tried educating. Now we're going to try this, that we're not going to tolerate hazing. People are going to be safe when they join Alpha Sigma Phi.
We have a viewer question that's asking why you think this is still happening on college campuses after so many years.
You know, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly a high degree of education that's occurring. All of the fraternities and sororities do a wonderful job of educating the chapters about hazing, about ways to keep people safe, about appropriate new member activities. But it is still happening. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, because despite all the education, we're still having instances like this. So that's why we're doing something different. It's as you said, it's unprecedented. And we're hopeful that this might be a deterrent. But it's not just this. We need partnership with the prosecutor. We need partnership with the university. The people that were involved in this, quite frankly, should be expelled from Rutgers. I think that'll also be a deterrent as well. So we're doing everything we can. We closed the chapter right away. We recommended that they were evicted from the fraternity house, and now we're taking this angle. And I wish I didn't have to do it, but this, unfortunately, because of the special circumstances of this, I think it's necessary.
And I think it's necessary that in your position and others of that stature, there's the accountability that's happening here, the steps that you are able to list out that, of things that you all have done to take this very seriously. What type of reputation damage does a situation like this do to an overall organization? Because, one chapter could be, 10, maybe 30, 50 people on campus, but it paints a picture of your entire fraternity.
Well, you're exactly right. Because when people see something like this that happens in the news and news coverage, they see Alpha Sigma Phi. And so every member of Alpha Sigma Phi, every undergraduate, every alumnus was impacted by this, and the reputation of the organization took a hit. There's no question about that. Certainly the impact to our reputation pales in comparison to the injuries of the victim, but our reputation did take a hit. And so what we're trying to say is we don't condone it, we don't tolerate it, we don't accept it. It's not consistent with our values. It's not who we are. It's not who we're going to be. And we're going to do whatever we can do to keep people safe, to keep our members safe, our new members safe. And if that means in these egregious instances like this that we're going to engage in civil litigation, then that's what we're going to do. I hope we never have to do it again. I didn't want to do it, but I just feel because of the special circumstances, it's necessary.
How is it being received, if you can say, for your fraternity, the steps that you're taking? I mean, some people love a heavy-handed approach, and some people might think it goes too far.
I would say largely the response has been very positive. It's been very positive from parents. The parents that have reached out to me have been appreciative that we take hazing seriously. They've been appreciative that we're not sweeping something under the rug. We're not turning the other way with it. So they really appreciate the transparency. And they really, I think, feel comforted in knowing that their son is in a fraternity that has no tolerance for hazing. And we're not going to just sit and accept that college students will do what college students do. No, hazing's illegal. It's a violation of our health and safety guidelines. And we're going to hold those who commit egregious acts of hazing, we're going to hold them accountable by every means possible, which could include civil litigation.
Gordy, I appreciate the candor. And again, I hate that, a lot of people who may not know your organization are being introduced to it in this way. For those who don't know about Alpha Sigma Phi, what other things would you like for people to know?
Sure. We're the nation's 10th oldest fraternity. We're founded in 1845. And our philanthropic, we have 5 philanthropic partners, and one is Stop Hazing, a hazing prevention network. That is one of our partners. We partner with other philanthropic causes around men's issues and to better campus communities. But the Hazing Prevention Network is one of our philanthropic partners. So we are committed to this cause.
Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Take care. It is one of those things that it won't just send a broader message within his fraternity, but really throughout the country. I mean, it's not just Rutgers. It's not just Alpha Sigma Phi. This sends a broader message to so many throughout the country. So I hope they're getting it. It's 1:28 right now. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It is 1:30, and boy, has the rift continued to widen. I mean, it's at a fever pitch now between President Trump and Fed Chair Jerome Powell. And this goes well beyond interest rates at this point in time. Or does it? We're going to bring in Professor Alan Sanders, who is the Professor Emeritus of Political Science at St. Peter's University, to talk a little bit more about where things stand between these two now that there is an actual subpoena and criminal indictment here, and where we go from here. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
All right. So what was your first reaction to the Justice Department sending the central bank these subpoenas and then threatening this criminal indictment over what they said was Jerome Powell's testimony about renovations?
Well, certainly it was a surprise. Nobody really expected this to happen except just the normal bullying that Donald Trump kind of does in public speeches and so forth. This is heavy-handed bullying, and you see that from the statements of former chairs of the Federal Reserve and former Treasury secretaries and former economic advisors, both Republican and Democrats, who have signed a statement heavily criticizing this move by the Trump administration. So far, it's only an investigation. There's no indictment yet, but certainly it's a criminal investigation, and all these former economic officials, Democrats and Republicans, have said this is threatening the independence of the Fed. Also, you've got some Republicans now in the Congress who are also voicing criticism and concern.
Yeah, I saw Senator Tom Tillis, very well-known Republican who was fully against this move. Talk a little bit more about the independence of the Fed chair.
Well, the Fed chair and the Federal Reserve basically set short-term interest rates, and they take a look at both inflation and the state of the economy and the labor market in trying to determine what the proper interest rates should be. They try to do this on the basis of economic data and try to be as objective as possible on the basis of that data. Now, presidents always have criticized the Fed at one time or another because presidents are held accountable for the economy. It's one of the most important elements that voters assess when they're trying to vote for president to decide who should hold the office. So presidents feel that, they should try to pressure the Fed, typically through, public statements and things of that nature. But Congress has determined that really it's economic data that should drive the results and the policies on interest rates, not just the political interests of any incumbent president. So I think Congress feels very strongly about that. The law is quite clear that you remove Board of Governor officials and Fed officials only for cause, which basically is when they do some malfeasance or criminal activity, which is, of course, why we're getting a criminal investigation now into Chairman Powell, because that would meet the for-cause requirements. But, of course, the investigation has to yield results. And then indictments have to meet the probable cause standard of indictments. So we're a long way off before anything actually gets done. But there's certainly an attempt here to bully Jerome Powell into lowering interest rates, which is what the president has wanted to do for a long time.
I mean, statements have been made for a long time on that note. This is a new level of things here, and the Fed chair is not taking this silently. What are your thoughts on him actually addressing the issue in a video recorded message?
Well, this is also unprecedented. First, the investigation, the criminal investigation, is unprecedented. And secondly, the response by Chairman Powell is also unprecedented. Look, throughout the public pressure that the president has put on him, he's been very soft-spoken, and he has said almost nothing, or when he's said something, it's been very neutral and very conciliatory. So this is quite a move by the Fed chairman, who believes that the president is really going to bully him seriously. And he felt that it was important, both for himself, but I think more importantly, for the independence of the Fed, to actually come out with a strong statement. He's not done that before. This is the first time he's doing it. So the whole episode, the investigation and the response by Powell, both of these things are unprecedented now.
And is it possible to separate the fact that the president himself really hasn't talked about this, but it is coming from your Justice Department? Like, is it possible for it to be separate?
Well, look, the Justice Department is supposed to be both a branch of the executive, but also independent. The norms are that when it comes to prosecuting people, pursuing investigations, the Attorney General and the Department of Justice should be impartial about that. Only the facts and the law should guide what the Justice Department does there. When we're dealing with policy, law enforcement policy and international policy and the law enforcement aspects of international political affairs, they're the Attorney General is a cabinet official, who advises the president on policy and who carries out policy. So what you've got is an office that has both a policy role, like any other cabinet officers, but also a law enforcement role, which is quite different from all other political officers in the executive branch. And that element has traditionally required, the norms have been established that Justice Department should be impartial here. And many observers, Democrats as well as Republicans, understand that on that side, the law enforcement side, the Justice Department has acted more as the attorneys for the president rather than the attorneys for the United States of America.
So what do you think is the goal here? Is it for Jerome Powell to step down? Because I guess that would have made maybe more sense before he was 4 months away from not being in that role anyway.
Well, I think there are two perceptions here. One is to bully him into stepping down, which seems doubtful since he has responded with a very forceful statement. The other is to basically send a message to other public officials who have opposed Donald Trump and who have clashed with him. And that message is, we will use whatever means we believe are useful to see if that you step down or resign, and we will use the Justice Department if necessary to do so.
Go into more detail there. There's a list now of people who have been targeted by the Justice Department that would fall under.
Sure. Well, you've got James Comey, the former FBI director. You've got Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York. You've got Adam Schiff, the senator from California. You've got Lisa Cook, who is another Fed official. These are people who the president has gone against and used the Justice Department to go against them now. Those things have fallen through. They have actually fallen through for James Comey and regarding James Comey, I should say, and Letitia James. That is to say, these prosecutions have not gone well with the courts. The Adam Schiff investigation is churning away somewhere, but there's no news and no results about that. And the Letitia Cook case is now scheduled to be heard at the Supreme Court next week, and that case will involve a determination by the Supreme Court as what is the for-cause requirement for removal. Fed officials can be removed for cause, and so the Supreme Court will presumably opine on what is for cause. Lisa Cook has been accused, I believe it's mortgage fraud.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what she's been accused of. But anyway, she's been accused of some wrongdoing, legal wrongdoing, and she has denied the wrongdoing. And in addition, she's challenging the push to remove her on the for cause basis.
And so going back to Jerome Powell, his time as Federal Reserve Chair would expire, as I understand it, in May, but he would still be on the Board of Governors, as it is right now, for 2 more years. Is that right?
That is correct. He'll have to step down in May. That's a long time, in politics. And then, of course, he gets to stay on the Board of Governors. So a lot of people had suggested that once he stepped down from the chairmanship, the head role, he might also choose to leave the Fed entirely. But now people are speculating that because he's decided to fight this investigation and to publicly rebuke the president for undertaking it and the Justice Department for undertaking it, that he's more resolved than ever to stay. That is certainly until May, and many people think now that he may choose to serve out his entire term into, I believe it's 2028.
So what difference does or do any of these threats or does this subpoena make?
Well, I think one should watch certainly what the economic players say about this. The stock market, for instance, the stock market early this morning, dropped significantly. But I believe, at least the last time I checked, about an hour ago,
starting to come back up.
it has rebounded. So a lot of people suggest, or by that, or interpret that to mean that the financial crowd believes that this is just a sort of performative for now and not anything that will be substantive. But of course, we'll have to wait and see.
And do you think that at some point the pressure could be at the point where interest rates are actually affected?
Well, I mean, right now, the betting was that the Fed would not change the interest rates the next time it meets. And there's now thought that because the president has done what he's done, or more specifically, because the Justice Department has done what it's done, that the Fed will want to assert its independence. And if it had leaned in favor of reducing interest rates, that now won't do so in order to publicly demonstrate that it's not going to bend to political pressure.
The president did put one of his personal appointees on that board, though, now, right?
Right, that's right, and that person will take part in the discussions. But that's only one person, and the Board of Governors, I believe, is a 12-member board, and the people who make the interest rate decisions on short-term interest rates, there are a couple of additional folks who are part of that committee beyond the formal board. So right now, the makeup of the board is not a Trump board per se. So we'll see what they decide to do the next time they meet to decide on short-term interest rates.
Could it be that he's maybe angling for that person to take Jerome Powell's place?
Well, I think the name that's been floated around is one of his chief economic advisors, Mr. Hassert. That certainly is the betting among the financial experts as to who he will pick. But he hasn't made a formal announcement yet. And no matter who he chooses, of course, that person would only take the lead at the Fed in May once Chairman Powell steps down.
If he makes it to May. We shall see. The saga continues. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right, you too. He has a wealth of information. Certainly appreciate it. There's so much to sift through there as we've been watching all of this kind of build. Again, we saw the president make comments before. They were just comments. We saw a visit over to see the actual renovations that were going on. The day, if you remember the video of the president and the Fed chair walking together, it seemed fairly copacetic as they were walking through the renovations. The president said they should have moved along quicker than they are, but just it looked like they were at least having some conversations at least there, even though there may have been like a few chippy parts towards the end of that visit. Everything has just been words until today. Now we have more action here that's taken place again, with the central bank being served with these subpoenas, and then the threat of a criminal indictment over the testimony about the building renovation. So we'll see where this goes. Again, Jerome Powell has until May on his current term. Does he make it to May? We'll see. 1:43 right now. We're going to take a quick break, just 2 minutes, and then we're going to move along with our conversation here about the biggest story maybe of the week, at least for Chicago. We are so excited to be able to say we're moving forward in the playoffs here, made it out of that wild card. And yeah, I mean, this place was rocking over the weekend. Saturday night was just amazing. It was electric. I mean, all of the words that you can think of. It was that. It was loud. Let me say that as well. It was loud. The Cardiac Bears did it again. And in fact, we're going to talk a little bit more later in the show about that cardiac aspect of the game. Boy, was it tough for us to all get through, but the ending was absolutely beautiful. Beautiful there inside of Soldier Field and beautiful throughout the rest of the city as well. We're going to bring in Cassie Carlson in just a few moments here so that we can talk about what comes next and the fact that it's back at Soldier Field this weekend too. 1:47 right now, and what a time to be alive. You know, we have heard for years you had to either think back or try to recall the last time the Bears were doing great. Right now, we are experiencing greatness. We are in the midst of it. And you know what? Even when things were down, and they were down for a bit, there in Soldier Field on Saturday night, people got a little, silent for a moment, but they stayed in it. You didn't see people leave the stadium. Why? Because the Bears are now kind of known for making a turnaround, and that's just what they did. Now they advance. We know that they will be hosting the Rams on this coming Sunday, but let's talk a little bit more about the game that was and the game that will be, and the preparation that has to happen in the midst of that. Let's talk to Cassie Carlson now. Cassie, tell us where you're joining us from and how you're feeling today, because I saw you out there working hard, girl.
Yeah, we're back at House Hall today for resetting a new week as they prepare for the Rams. How am I feeling? I told my dad yesterday, I was like, I feel like I'm floating. It's one of those things where now in their seventh comeback win, I don't want to say you expect it, but it's not the shock that we felt in so many of the previous ones. And so I was lucky enough to be standing in the end zone after the 2-minute warning. I saw the DJ Moore touchdown. It came right towards me. And then watching the Packers final drive, I think there was 1:30 left or something. And it felt like the longest minute 30 of my life. I just kept being like, gosh, is Jordan Love going to do this? Are they going to have the last laugh and walk it off this time in Soldier Field to advance to the next round? But the elation inside Soldier Field, the way it was silent when Love threw up the final pass, and then the way the crowd erupted as soon as they saw it fell incomplete was something I'll never forget. One of those pinch me moments. But you got to quickly turn the page. Those emotions run so high. You're running on adrenaline, and now it's like, all right, we're playing for more. So the Bears are back in the building today after having the day off yesterday to get focused on the Rams.
Yeah, and as they go back, I mean, it does have to be like an emotional
like a roller coaster, Anita.
Yeah, it has to be such a task for them to get past one, to get to the other, and again, to acknowledge the fact, and maybe they don't. Maybe they just, maybe we talk about the fact that they're moving into an area of play that we just have not been in so long. I mean, you think about somebody like DJ Moore and the fact that he's experiencing the same emotions as some of the rookies right now.
Yeah, first winning season for DJ Moore since he was in high school. And we just talked to Tremaine Edmonds, who's been in the NFL for a long time, and he's played in playoff games before. He used to be with the Buffalo Bills when they would go up against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And he's like, Saturday's game is one that you're going to talk about for the rest of your life after these players retire. That was an all-timer. You just don't go out and come back from down 21-3 every week against your division rival in the playoffs. It just doesn't happen all the time. And so these players, I think, were still trying to digest exactly what happened. And there were so many different aspects of the comeback that came into play. It was the defense playing well in the second half and all those second half adjustments that they made. Then it was the offense coming up short so many times where you felt like they just couldn't capitalize, and was that going to be hindering them in the end of this game, and that was going to be the reason they lost. And then of course it's Caleb Williams making the throw of the season to Rome Odunze on 4th and 8 that he catches on the sideline as he is midair. He had the Air Jordan pose, eerily similar, and he gets hit, and then you see that catch and the way the sideline erupted, and that was the moment that the players said that they knew they were going to go win that game. And so there's definitely a belief in this locker room that we've honestly been talking about it all season long, and I think you felt like it could take them to the playoffs, and now to see the belief take them to wins in the playoffs is a different level than I've ever experienced. And I give credit to Ben Johnson for everything he talked about when he was hired. He has implemented in this team, and we saw that emotion play out in the locker room after he said F the Packers, which no one saw coming. And if you know
not
anything
everyone
about
appreciated.
I mean, it's a little bit controversial now, which I find interesting too. Like there's an old school thought that you just keep those comments in-house and to yourself, but I don't think people realize when those videos are released, it's not just a social media person decides to post that. It has to go through so many different levels of approval to get to the point where it is posted on their Twitter or Instagram account. And so George McCaskey definitely knew that was going to come out. And he is someone that, if you know anything about the McCaskies, they don't condone profanity. or foul language. If you watched Hard Knocks, you know that they didn't include any of it, not even like the bleeps that you typically see in clips. They just don't, that's not what they believe in. And so for him to approve that too, and then Ben Johnson say the reason that he said it is because this is a rivalry. Bears-Packers is a rivalry. It's the oldest rivalry in football. It should be that way. He's part of it. And he and George McCaskey are on the same page about how they feel about the Packers.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that Ben Johnson has done everything and said, everything that he said he would do. And now that does include beating LaFleur twice in one season.
Check.
Check mark there. Yeah.
No, I love that. That was another one of those things where when he was hired, you're like, oh my gosh, like he actually just said that.
Right.
And they don't have a relationship at all. And so that was something that was talked about a lot over the offseason, something Matt LaFleur didn't really want to talk about. But then this week, or last week, I should say, the Packers kind of took the opposite approach where they were the ones being loud. And Ben Johnson said right after the game that they heard all the noise from up north and they took it personally. You not only had players saying they wanted to get back game against the Bears and they wanted nothing more than to send the Bears home, but you had coaches saying that they were going to be back there next week. And so I think that that message was heard loud and clear, and it was bulletin board material for the Bears.
Yeah, I've even seen one of the players since say, like, they didn't do anything special. Well, I thought that fourth quarter was actually really special. Actually, it was really special. So now that we are getting ready for what's next, trying at least to mentally and physically get ready for what's next, and that's the fans and the players trying to mentally and physically get ready. Let me ask you this. We did see a couple of our guys go down. Obviously, we saw some of our guys come back. So let's talk about both. I mean, it was great to see Rome Odunze back. It didn't feel like he was up 100%, even though he had that fantastic catch. Didn't seem like he was back to his 100% yet. And who did we lose, and what's the status there?
Yeah, so Rome Odunze knew going into that game that he would probably be limited in the amount of snaps that he ended up playing just because he had missed 5 weeks. So that's kind of the natural progression. And mind you, the Bears have a lot of receivers and other receivers such as Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, who have really emerged since Rome Odunze was at his peak, which was the first 5 games of the season. So he'll be, I would imagine his snap count's just going to continue to go up as the Bears go out throughout the playoffs. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. The 2 biggest losses will be TJ Edwards with the ankle injury. That's going to kind of keep him out for the rest of the season. Yeah, that was tough to see. And I think, it's just a linebacker core. And for TJ Edwards personally, one of those seasons where he's dealt with a ton of injuries throughout the year. And so it's really unfortunate to see him go down. And something Tremaine Edmonds talked about today is the fact that they came into Chicago together. They're brothers, and he's been in contact with him. And, he said basically there's got to be a bigger plan for him to come back next year. And so they will be down a linebacker. Granted, this has kind of been the theme of the season for the Bears, especially on defense, is next man up. And regardless how many injuries they've had, they found diamonds in the rough. I think you can look at Nashawn Wright, who originally was supposed to fill in for Jalen Johnson, ended up earning a starting spot. And now you see Tyreek Stevenson just fighting to get some snaps on the field on defense. The other injury of the game last week would have been left tackle Ozzie Trapillo, who's going to be out with a knee injury. So your starting left tackle being down could be a huge blow. But that was another one of those positions where it had kind of been rotating as they tried to figure out who their starter was going to be all season. And if I had to imagine, it would be Theo Benedict, who's going to slide back into left tackle. And while it's not your starting 5 that you would want out there, or your best 5 guys, it is someone who does have experience playing this season. And so I think the Bears they fully expect for these guys to fill in seamlessly. And now they're going to go up against a Rams team that has a really good offense and a really good defense as well. So it's going to be a tough task ahead.
Really good offense, really good defense for the Rams. But what is the status of Matthew Stafford's finger?
Yeah, Sean McVay said today that he sprained his index finger on his throwing hand, but he will be playing on Sunday. And that comes to no surprise, as most people who have been around Matthew Stafford, even Ben Johnson, who coached him for 2 years while they were in Detroit together, he basically said, he has a supreme arm talent, but he is the toughest guy out there. And that's what he respects about him most, just the way he gets himself ready, plays hurt. To be out there when he's physically hurting is one of the more impressive things about him. And he is definitely an MVP candidate. He threw for 4,700 yards this season, most in the league, the number one passing offense, number one scoring offense. He has receivers in Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. They have a running back in Kyron Williams. This is really one of those offenses that a lot of teams would fear. I think especially when you look at the matchup too between who their receivers are, being physical receivers, and the Bears secondary, which has given up a ton of yards. I think that's some cause for concern. But the Bears did beat the Rams and Matthew Stafford last year at Soldier Field. And the best thing they have on their side is, yes, they have home field advantage in the fans. They also have the weather on their side, because the Rams are a warm weather team. They play inside a dome. They are coming to Soldier Field, and Matthew Stafford is 1-9 in cold weather games, and we're expecting single-digit temperatures Sunday.
You know, if you come to see the Iceman, it figures that the weather would kind of welcome you that way, right?
Oh my God, I love it. People keep saying that these games are football cinema. Honestly, it felt that way pregame last Saturday, because the snow was majestic.
Yeah.
And of course it melts like before everything kicks off, but still. And then the way the game ended, you're like, it's a movie. DJ Moore said that after the game. He's like, this was a movie. He's like, we didn't even put up any points in the first half. And for us to come back in that setting in a wild card game against a division rival, it was just, you couldn't write a script like that.
Yeah, and so many people, myself included, I think we're preparing that speech of, you cannot wait that long to activate in these high stakes games until they still pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, credit to, one, the belief of this team for never believing that the game is over until the clock hits zero. And I feel like Caleb Williams kind of says that in every post-game interview that he does. He's like, you'll keep fighting and fighting and fighting, and then you'll look up once the game is over and you'll be on top. And then also Ben Johnson, it was interesting to hear his approach at halftime. They obviously made both adjustments on offense and defense, but there was a clip that he showed about the Super Bowl Falcons against the Patriots, and the Patriots were down in the first half. They had 3 points, and they came back to win it all. And it was actually Grady Jarrett and Joe Tooney who played in that game. And he showed that clip in training camp and then referred to it again at halftime on Saturday, just that you are never out of a game until that game is over. And so for them to have the wherewithal to come out and fight and find it within themselves is truly an impressive showing.
It worked. You know, it worked. The question will be, what do they need to do to have that spark from the outset, especially now that they're facing the Rams?
Yeah, well, slow starts have been hindering this team for really the last 2 months, and they've tried to look at everything to see how they could fix that in so many different ways. You know, this past game, it was red zone issues, coming up with field goals instead of touchdowns. Previously, it's been penalties at times, missed assignments. So there's all these different things that have gone on, and it's something that they're trying to find the answer to. It's not that there's a lack of urgency. Everyone knows that these games are high-stake games, and it could be the last. So it's win or go home, leave it all out on the line. So that's something that week by week they are looking at and addressing. I think you have to go back and look at the tape, and that's what they're doing today at Hallis Hall, is reviewing everything that happened Saturday night, looking at the good, looking at the bad, and then forming their game plan for the Rams on Sunday. And luckily, they don't have a short week. So they had a day off yesterday. They were able to kind of relax. They're back in the building today to really flip the page towards LA, and they have a full week to prepare for what will be the biggest game of their season at home on Sunday. And we're waiting for the time of that will be determined later on after the game tonight. But I think that's one of the things that you're still a little bit concerned about. I kind of beg to question, though, would you rather have a team that starts fast or a team that can finish and come back like the Bears can? Because I don't think every team can do that either, for 7 comeback wins in the fourth quarter. So it's kind of like a pick your battle sort of thing. I think there's definitely a sense of urgency that kicks in, though, a little bit more in Caleb Williams when he is playing from behind.
It does seem like he relishes the moment, but stepping up to the moment. And in truth, not everyone can meet the moment. So it's always wonderful to see, but boy, is it hard on those of us who are fans watching. I don't know what's going through their minds as they're playing, but it's hard for the fans. It did seem like the fans really were an extra man on the field this weekend.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they have to be. You know, Bears fans told everyone before the game, like, be quiet when the Bears offense is on the field, be loud when the Packers offense is on the field. And that came to life. I think it was the final drive. There was a delay of game in there that was huge. And so many other different instances of the fans just showing up and being loud. And I mean, a lot of times when we're sitting in the press box, it's really hard to hear exactly how loud it is because there is a glass barrier between us. But being down on the field, gosh, it's like your heart's shaking and you can't even hear your own thoughts. And then I saw someone in the press, they posted a video of like their water bottle sitting on a ledge and the way it was like shaking because the decibels were so loud. It was one of those like, wow, I don't know if I've ever experienced anything like that. And I think it was loud last time that the Bears and Packers played at Soldier Field a couple weeks ago, but this was a whole new level. And really, it got started too with like they brought out the full field flag for the national anthem. They don't always do that. Like the setting with the snow, the city, the bear down that they had on the buildings downtown, it was so magical. And I would expect nothing less for that to be the same case Sunday.
It was cinematic for sure and will be talked about for many years, as you said. Cassie, thank you so much. I expect it will be pulling on you later in the week, too.
Please do. These weeks don't come by every year, as we've come to learn. So we got to relish in it, as you mentioned.
All right. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, Anita.
It's 2:03, everyone. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'll set you up for this 2 o'clock hour. Welcome back, everyone. 2:06 right now. Let me tell you about some of the things that you can expect in this hour of Chicago Live. We're going to talk a little bit more about the weather. You heard us kind of mention a change that should be in store for us as we get ready for the Bears game this upcoming weekend. But we'll walk you through what exactly we're expecting, because today is beautiful in the city of Chicago. Also, we're going to try to bring up at least Tia Ewing. She's on a story today about veterans fraud. Obviously, our veterans should always be revered, and paying tribute to their great sacrifice should kind of come second nature to all of us. But she has a story of a situation that's gone very wrong, totally in the opposite direction. Also, around 2:15, we're going to do a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about an issue that is kind of catching a lot of people off guard here, a new warning about radon. Do you know what's actually happening in your house, especially on those lower levels, the basement level, what could be in the air, what it could be causing? There's a new effort to raise awareness about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that around that time. Right before that, we're also going to try to bring in Cassie Carlson. She just stepped out of court. She has a major update to a case that has been followed across the nation. We're going to talk more about that. First, though, we want to hear about what's going on in Kane County, because they have a board meeting to decide on something that so many other municipalities are grappling with right now as well. What to do with, hosting home rentals, platforms like Airbnb, Verbo, and others of, the same nature, people coming in and the complaints that others in the neighborhood might have about noise, congestion, safety, partying. I want to bring in now Kane County Board Member in District 14, John Gripe. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
So
My pleasure.
You cover the west suburbs, St. Charles, Campton Hills, South Elgin, and Elgin. Let's first just talk about the issue in and of itself. What are people saying to you to get you all to have to sit down and have this vote?
Well, this has been percolating for a little while. I mean, Airbnb, VRBOs are no news to anybody, but we've had some constituents, not just in my area, but kind of around the county, have been expressing concerns about party houses. And, everybody has parties, but, when those parties become problematic and go too late or make too much noise, I mean, there's 100 things that could go badly, then they're of concern. And when it revolves around a place that, rents over and over and over again for ostensibly for parties, that's become a concern to the people in Kane County.
So essentially people are saying like, hey, I moved in this neighborhood. I knew I was going to have neighbors, but I didn't know my neighbors were going to have, use their home for these purposes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And are there any documented issues, like an actual incident that happened? Or is it more so just, complaints maybe that have come in?
Well, I guess that's the documentation. So currently for anybody that has an issue with this, because we really have, we have zoning issues, or laws, but there's really nothing that formally addresses this. So people would complain to the sheriff. That's the way you would do it, and say, hey, this party's going on too long. It's going too late. The street's blocked with cars. There are people coming and going at all hours of the night. Just crazy things going on. And I heard about it and started listening a little more and finding out this was more common in Kane County than I might have thought. But then also some of the people said, what can we do? What are the zoning laws? People wanting to do research and find out what's the ability to, regulate this, control it within the current zoning regulations. And the answer was not much.
Wow. And I guess there is that argument of, how can you tell me how to use my home? I guess that people who are on these sites would make, right?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, a good way of thinking about this is that, let's say my home. If I was having a huge party at my house and I was blocking the streets so emergency vehicles couldn't get through, and I was keeping my neighbors up at all hours, that, it doesn't matter that I'm not a short-term rental. It matters that I'm, being a pain to my neighbors and to the community. And anybody could complain about that. I'm not necessarily violating a particular regulation. But so what we're trying to do is assure that we can keep people safe, because we're not just concerned about the neighbors and what they perceive in these situations, but it's also the short-term tenants. If someone rents to somebody and they put too many people in the house, that's not safe. If they try and have more people than because most of this is unincorporated Kane County that we're talking about, because we have no ability to regulate anything that's not unincorporated Kane County. But if these people are stressing the well or septic systems that these unincorporated places have, that's a problem, because so it's safety not only for the people that are residing there, but for anybody in the neighborhood.
So I feel like I can see where you're going with this vote, but how do you think the vote is going to go?
I'll say with pretty much any vote that comes before the board, I wouldn't put money on anything, but because I've been surprised. Is the sky blue? Maybe it's not. But any rate, I think that everybody on the board is sensitive to wanting people to be safe. We want our constituents to be safe. It's just, let's do things right. Let's be good neighbors. And to the extent we need to codify how that's going to be administered by the county, then that's what this resolution would do.
Yeah, I mean, and you, like we've been saying, have heard from a lot of people who take issue with it. Have you heard from any of the people who are using their homes hosting, these people to come in on these platforms?
I haven't, but I'm one of 24 representatives. I don't know that anybody else has, but we've heard from various sources complaints about not good neighborliness, and that's what really got us to look into this and to say, all right, how can we keep people safe? How can we make sure that people are going to be good neighbors when maybe they're not inclined to be such good neighbors? And again, it's the owners, maybe they're there, maybe they're not. So that's not the concern. The concern is that people that are there are doing what anybody that's having a party or celebrating something would want done in their neighborhood.
So what is the consideration, specifically what would change with a vote saying, that all of you all are on the same page tonight? What would change? Okay,
that's a good question. So what we're basically going to do is look to install some ordinances, there's actually 3, I think, that are on the agenda for tomorrow. First, you'd need to obtain a county license to have this kind of thing going on in your home. Secondly, we would need to register or have inspections. In other words, we need to know that if you're going to put up so many people in your house, that you actually have basement, or that you have bedrooms with safety access. In other words, you cannot consider a bedroom that doesn't have an emergency exit in the room as a bedroom. So, undergoing inspections, we need to make sure that they would carry liability insurance. We're going to be limiting the number of people to 2 guests per bedroom, with a maximum of 16 guests per property. So even if you had, I'll be ridiculous, even if you had 50 bedrooms in your house, you can't have more than 16 guests per property. And there are going to be some restrictions on parking, on how often this can take place. For instance, a rental in the proposed language, and again, we haven't voted on that yet, You can't have more than 12 rental contracts in a year or 180 days worth of rentals, whichever is greater. Property owners would be required to notify neighboring property owners and provide a 24-hour contact person, and so forth. There's more than that to it. So what it's going to do, I think, is give us the ability to understand who's renting these places out and make sure that people that are staying there are safe, and also that the people in the neighborhood are having as close to a good neighbor as possible.
Okay, all right. And you said the vote is tomorrow. What time?
The meeting starts at 9:45. I'm not sure what time we get to this. That can be another thing I would never bet on, because I've been surprised. I think our record is nearly 6.5 hours of a meeting. So we joke that sometimes we need to bring breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh my!
But, any rate, it's we get a lot done. The agenda is very, very packed. But I'm very optimistic about people understanding this and seeing how this is going to be a good thing for everybody involved.
Well, I'm hoping that before dinner tomorrow, we're able to update folks on what's happened with that vote. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, John.
My pleasure. It's nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. Take care. It's about 2:18, everyone. That is a really interesting just conversation, because, it's one of those things when it comes to home rentals, and especially in this way from these platforms. I mean, where is it not happening right now? And so you're always going to have some people who are fully on board for it, and some people who think it becomes a nuisance, and more so as time goes by. I still remember when this was like a new concept, and now it's so widespread. There will be many other municipalities who have to make that decision as well. There have been many people across the country who have been watching this case of an Ohio dentist and his wife who were recently murdered. And over the weekend, there was like this flashpoint where we realized, wait, again, Ohio dentist and his wife who were murdered. We found out there was a Chicago connection. And so we started looking into that, digging into that, trying to find out more information, as we now know that the ex-husband of the woman who was killed is now the prime suspect here. So I want to go to Cassie Carlson, who's now on this story now that it loops back here to Chicagoland. And you just got out of court. What happened?
Hey, Anita, that's right. Really just a wild story that, as you mentioned, traces all the way back here to Illinois. We are in Rockford right now. We're outside of the Winnebago County courthouse. And this is where that suspect, Michael David McKee, 39 years old, he just appeared in court for an extradition hearing. He waived his right to extradition, so he will be sent back to Columbus, Ohio. Now, police in Columbus actually traced his vehicle all the way back here to Illinois. They spotted the vehicle as a vehicle that was near the home at the time of the murders, and then left shortly after the time of the murders. Monique Tepe and her husband, Spencer, found dead in their home. Their two young children were found alive in the home, unharmed, but really just a wild situation that now we know the prime suspect is, as you stated, Monique's ex-husband, who apparently they have been divorced since 2017. He lives, actually, the suspect, Michael McKee, lives in Lincoln Park in Chicago, but works at a hospital here in Rockford. That's what brings us here to Rockford, where he was arrested on Saturday.
So much still that we need to learn and sift through with this particular case. And do we know what happens next?
Right. So he waived extradition, meaning that he will be taken back to Ohio. How quickly that will happen, we don't know exactly, but it sounds like it's going to be in the coming days. The judge set a status hearing for extradition next Monday. That just essentially means that the attorneys in the case will meet again to kind of make sure that things went smoothly. But if he was actually sent back to Ohio this week, let's say, they'll probably cancel next Monday's hearing. So if he's still here, they'll have that status hearing on Monday to discuss some logistics and details, but it's very likely that he will be transferred in the next several days back to Columbus. And then the court proceedings will begin there. He is charged with 2 counts of premeditated homicide.
Final question for you. We still don't have a motive for any of this, right?
That's correct. We don't know, was he still in touch with Monique in any way over the last several years since their divorce? What happened, in these recent years that would cause, after all this time, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it was perhaps not an amicable divorce, we don't know those details of what happened during their split, but all this time later, and here he is as the prime suspect. And another interesting point is he is a surgeon here in Rockford at the OSF Health System. We reached out to his employer for a statement. They said they are fully cooperating with authorities and directed any further comment to police.
Scary situation. Okay, well, we look for more information on it as it starts to unfold. Now, at least they have somebody in custody. Thank you so much, Casey. We'll be looking for your reports.
Thanks, Anita.
All right, you take care. Safe travels back here. And let's continue on with our conversations now. A danger that could be lurking in your home. Now, the Cook County Department of Public Health is encouraging residents to test your homes for radon action. I mean, even when we were talking about having this on the show today, it was like, radon? Yes, radon. And that is the reaction that they're hoping fewer people will have in time by talking more about it. Dr. Kiran Joshi is joining me now. He's the CEO, and I'm so elated that you're here to talk to us about what caught even some of us off guard.
Sure thing. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for allowing time for this critical issue. So radon is a naturally occurring gas. It's radioactive. It comes up from the ground. You can't see it, you can't smell it or taste it, and that's why people often don't know that it's in their homes. It can build up, though, particularly in basements and lower levels, and it can be dangerous over time. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States after smoking.
That is wild. And yes, that's what had us like, huh? I mean, that sounds so unbelievable. When you think of lung cancer and just the fact that it's the second leading. So, I mean, how long does it take for you having it in your home for it to get to that level?
Yeah. So anyone exposed to radon over time can be affected, and your risk increases with exposure, even for people who've never smoked a day in their lives. The good news is that there are things that we could do about this. Every home should be tested, no matter how old. EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, recommends every home be tested, and so do we. Radon levels can vary from house to house, even if they're on the same block. Testing is really important, particularly if you have a basement and spend time on lower levels. So again, just want to reiterate here, guessing does not work. It's really important to get tested. We at the Cook County Department of Public Health are offering free tests to all suburban Cook County residents. If you're interested, go to getRadonTest.org.
So in a test, or even before a test, what are the things we should be looking out for that say I could possibly have an issue?
I think testing is really the only way to tell. The short-term tests that we offer take about a week. You do it yourself in your home, you mail it in, and we put the results online about a week after we receive it. If your levels are high, which are 5 picocuries per liter or higher, there are proven ways to reduce the radon. So that can involve sealing cracks in your basement floors or your walls, or installing a special type of ventilation system that's very effective at removing that radon from your home.
I mean, we talk so often about things like Carbon monoxide is being a silent killer. And this is the first conversation I have had in over 20 years of doing this to talk about radon possibly being in your home as well. So why are we just now having this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a sense, I heard your opening comments, and I think that is really the reason that we're trying to raise awareness now, because it's a fixable problem. Testing can lead to action, and that action can really save lives.
There's some things, are there some things that, like a sump pump or something like that in the basement that could be problematic?
No, nothing with sump pumps per se. Again, it's really hard to tell based on any characteristics of a particular home. The only way to know if you have enough radon that might require abatement or mitigation is to get tested.
Mm-hmm. And are these issues more common in areas like ours where people have basements, or could it be even if you have a one level home or just a home with no basement that you could have the issue as well?
Yeah, I mean, it could be either. Again, the EPA recommends testing for all homes nationwide, and that's something that we're really trying to help here with.
All right. Anything else that you think people should know about radon that you think we just don't know right now, or when it comes to protecting ourselves?
Yeah, I just want to again say if folks are interested in a test, go to getradontest.org to request a free radon test kit from the Cook County Department of Public Health. If you live outside of suburban Cook County, you can go to the American Lung Association website. They do also offer free test kits.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this has been very interesting and enlightening, sir. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Dr. Joshi.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. 228. I'm telling you, when we got to talking about that, it was like radon. Important things that we need to know. And even if it's been around for a long time, it's a good thing that people are now talking about it, that the Cook County Department of Public Health is raising some awareness here for a lot of people about, you think you know everything about your home, especially the longer you live there. Think you know everything about your home. Something could be lurking in there that you have no knowledge about until now. All right, it's 2:28. We're going to take a quick break, about 2 minutes, and then we'll be back to move on to another point of conversation. right, 2:31 right now, and we're taking you down to Houston, where you can see the remnants of a fire that was a 3-alarm fire that firefighters have been battling there. You see that smoke still pouring out of the building, not heavy, so maybe they've gotten the better hand of this thing, but still pouring out of that building there. This actually was a church at one point in time. The building that we're looking at, the property, some of our reporters down in Houston and our sister station, they've been talking to people who are in that area, and they say that there is an organization that's been working out of that building there, and that they sold the property. The church sold the property. All right, now we've got flames. You can see right there. Now that they turn the camera, you can see flames here. So I'm not quite certain as to whether maybe some of the embers jumped onto another building, or if this is the fire. You can see a steeple there on that side, but they might possibly have like a secondary building there, or something of that sort. But you can see the flames. Firefighters still have a battle on their hands right now. So going back just into a few of the background details about this fire, again, there's an organization who's been working there out of this building that once was owned by a church. They recently sold the property. They moved out of it last year, so not still a congregation that's been gathering there. Unclear at this point in time what the building was currently being used for, or even how the fire started. But as of right now, we do know that officials say no one has been taken to the hospital. The firefighters just still have a battle on their hand getting these flames under control. So it's a situation, again, down in Houston, if you're familiar with the area, right off of I-45, that they are going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to watch. We'll update you if we get any new information on that. But we want to get to a situation that's happening here at home with our own Tia Ewing. You know, there are two words that I feel never should be used in the same sentence. That would be veterans and fraud, but that's exactly what she's on today. Tia, give us the details of this story.
So we just interviewed Ramir Ellis, who is a 30-year veteran of the Navy. On November 19th, he woke to find out that his Cash App had been compromised, and whomever is behind this took an amount of $5,902. Cash App, he emailed them right away, contacted them, deleted the app. They acknowledged that his account was indeed compromised, but the hiccup comes with Navy Federal Credit Union. That is how the money was set up. So anytime he would send a Cash App, whatever, it would come through Cash App, but wired and trickled down through his Navy Federal Credit Union account. He's been with them for, I think he said 35 years, if I'm not mistaken. And at one point, actually, the way he even signed up, first of all, you had to be a member of, one of the military branches. But the way that he signed up was in Cuba when he was just 19 years old. He's saying that he's only had 2 other issues with his account being compromised in the past. And so he said that it only took about 3 days for them to, quote unquote, investigate and get it back to him. And none of his money has been returned. They're saying on their end that they haven't found, they feel like he's liable. He's saying, no, Cash App told me that my account was compromised. And the way that they did this, I think this is really important, no matter if you're a veteran or not. The way that they did this was they tested the water. Somehow they got his email address, went on through Cash App on the internet, which you can do. You can access your Cash App online. They made entry through his Cash App online, and from there they set up basically to then send themselves increments of money. And so when they first tested the water, they sent themselves $1 to see if that would work. It went through. Then they sent themselves another $1 that went through. They tried to send themselves $1,500, and Navy Federal Credit Union did flag that as fraud. That happened. But the other transactions they let get through for the amount of $5,902, of which, as of right now, he has not received a dime back.
Give us. Go ahead.
No. That's why he contacted us, to see if we could hopefully get him some answers, some results. So that's where we got.
Yeah,
we did hear back chat. They did email me back and say that this is something that they're looking into, but we have not heard back yet from Navy Federal Credit.
And that's really what I wanted to get at, some of the background in terms of, for people who are watching and seeing you on the move, what are the steps that you're taking today to try to get him some answers?
Yeah, so as soon as we got this story, we immediately went into action and emailed Cash App directly. We also emailed Navy Credit, Federal Credit Union. Cash App did get back right away and say, hey, would like to talk to you further about this. They've made no attempt as of yet to make that happen. But we're going to find out. We're working to see what will happen. This story first airs at 4:30. So hopefully we have some type of resolve for him, or at least a statement saying that they're working on it. But as of right now, I'm looking at my email to make sure that I'm not stating this incorrectly. I don't believe we've heard anything back from anybody.
Did he at all talk about what he's been through? I mean, from just an emotional standpoint, going through this?
Well, it happened right before Thanksgiving, which is, also right before Christmas too, and he has 3 children. So, I mean, maybe to somebody watching, they may say $5,900. That's a lot of money these days. And so he wants his money back, or he wants them to at least prove that they went through a thorough investigation process. In fact, he did ask, according to him, Navy Federal Credit Union, and I have the email as well, he asked them to just show me what investigation you did to arrive that, I'm at fault here, and he's received nothing.
Wow.
So our next, if we haven't received anything, which I'm looking right now, we have not received anything back from Navy Federal Credit Union. So our next step is to email them to see indeed if they are going to respond. And then after that, we'll just keep hammering at this. We don't get a statement, we'll email them, today, we'll email them tomorrow. We'll just keep going until we hear something. But I do think, if you've been a member of any financial institution for that amount of time, no matter if you're a veteran or not, you should get some type of answer as to how did you reach this conclusion. And I did ask him, I said, when Cash App sent you this email, did you hand that over to Navy Federal to get a statement back from them, to say, look, they found that there was something wrong here. How is it possible that you did? And he said that he did, and still no resolve. So we're going to see what happens here. When we get these stories, we stay on the case. This isn't a situation where, we're on it today and off of it tomorrow. We stay on it pretty persistent until we get some type of answer. No matter if that answer is, this is the final conclusion. The point is that we at least try to assist, and we try to be that middleman to get some form of an answer.
Yeah, some type of resolution for him, even if it's not the one fully that he's seeking. This at least answer, that's like a basic courtesy there. I know plenty of people who use Navy Federal who have not had any issue with them. But again, when you hear something like this, it does make you think twice. So I would hope that by him making this public, that they would think about that more people are now hearing about it and looking at them, wondering about them.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he came to us. He said that he didn't want to go public. He didn't want his information out there. He's a private person. And in fact, what's interesting about his background is that his last position within the Navy was an information systems technician, in which his whole job is to protect people's, the Navy's, the federal government's information. That's his whole job. And so he wanted to protect his information and didn't want to be public. But unfortunately, he felt like he had no other option but to come to us in the hopes that, by us shedding light on his story, he'll get some resolution. So that's what we're going to do today. Yeah, looking for who's going to protect him. All right, Tia, thank you so much. We appreciate the update. We'll be looking for you at 4. Bye-bye. All right, take care. 2:41 right now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to move forward with things here. I do want to say before we go to break, there are so many different scams out there. I mean, we could probably talk about a new scam, an old scam every day. And in fact, coming up in our 3 o'clock hour, we are going to talk a bit more specifically just about scams. I mean, that's one scam, and you never want to hear about even one person having to go through something like that. But we're going to talk about the top scams in the 3 o'clock hour, and that does include a scam that's currently targeting Bears fans. We know everybody's excited right now. Maybe you're trying to get your hands on tickets to go to the next game.
make sure you stay tuned with us so that you can hear about what's going on. Again, 2:41. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to move forward. Welcome back, everyone. Just about 2:45 right now. We're going to take you back down to Houston so that we can talk a little bit more about the updated information we're getting on this fire that we have been watching here. You see the firefighters, they've gone way up on that ladder here to kind of get the upper angle on the flames that we were seeing here. Now, the new information that I got, if you recall, the last time we were looking at what was going on here, we were looking at a different building, and I was wondering, okay, is this still on the church's property? Is this another building where maybe the embers kind of, flew over or something? And what I know at this point now is that there are 3 buildings on the property, and all of them were involved in the fire. Okay, so the firefighters have really had their hands full in this area, again, right off of I-45 in North Houston, where we're looking at them right now pour water on the flames that are still going at least one of the buildings where we were seeing an issue. So the property was at one time a church with a congregation. About a year ago, they sold the property. They moved out last year. And so right now we don't know who, if anyone, has been using this building. There was some type of organization that at least had a sign outside, I'm seeing, but no indication as to, whether anyone was in the building at any point in time or using it for any type of other purpose since the church has been out. But it's also unclear how the fire started, or right now, how long it might take for these firefighters to get the flames out. It does look like they're doing a good job, but just not able to, get all of it out just yet here. They're also looking for a cause. Don't know the cause of the fire. Again, don't know at this point in time how it started, but we're going to continue to watch, monitor if we get any more information here. We certainly hope that the firefighters will be okay. It doesn't appear that there have been any injuries or deaths connected with the fire. Just the firefighters doing a wonderful job trying to get all of the flames out here as they continue to pour. Right there, you can see more of that white smoke coming up. Usually when you see the dark black smoke that's coming up, the flames are still going, but you're seeing more of the white smoke that's coming up, and that means that they're getting the upper hand on the fire here. So we certainly wish the firefighters well there. Again, this is in Houston, if you're just tuning in, North Houston, where we're seeing this live picture here of firefighters doing a great job getting a fire out. Still don't know what started the fire or how long it's been going at this point in time, but good to see that no injuries or deaths are associated with it. It is 2:47 right now. We're going to take another quick break here, and then we're going to bring in our chief meteorologist, Emily Walls, who just stepped in here. We're going to get an update on what's going on weather-wise around here. Here in Chicago, it has been beautiful today, and of course, everyone's just got a little extra glow in Chicago because we're coming off of a Bears win this weekend. Look at the visitors out at the Bean, taking advantage of some nice temperatures for January. Can things stay this way for long? Do we want them to stay with the LA Rams on the way? You know, they're kind of used to warm weather. Maybe we should invite them with a little something else. We're going to talk to Emily about what's going on in the days ahead, what we can expect. It's all a matter of minutes away. Stay with us. .250, as mentioned. Emily Walls here, our chief meteorologist, and oh my, today is gorgeous in the city.
Yeah, it felt so nice to see the sunshine. It's definitely cold. There's a chill in the air, but it feels good. And, you know, if you compare this to what's considered to be average, which is 32 degrees, you know, today's temperatures in the 40s, not so bad. Feeling pretty good. Now, the next couple of days, it's going to stay really nice. Look at that that pillar of sunshine. Wow, that's obviously
it's like beam me up, Scotty,
yes,
type of thing.
Yeah, that's gorgeous right there. But yes, sunshine out there finally. We are expected to see increasing cloud cover tomorrow and maybe even a rain chance on Tuesday. Very small chance. Most of the rain, I think, is actually going to be developing south of us. But the bigger weather story for Tuesday is the warmth. We're forecasting highs that are in the upper 40s, near 50 degrees. Yes. Yes, so it's going to be very, very mild by January standards, but soak it in if you can. Get outside today, tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
because
before all
we
that.
do have some changes. Notice late this week, we're really seeing a pattern flip-flop. We're going back to those winter-like temperatures, and on Wednesday, I think that high of 38, that's going to be in the morning, and then I expect a drop in a pretty significant way going into Wednesday evening, and then after that, it's all about lake effect. So there's still some really big questions that we have to figure out with the forecast Wednesday night into Thursday. What is a sure bet is that with the lack of ice on southern Lake Michigan and the cold air that's moving in, it's going to be the perfect recipe for some lake effect. But the question mark is still exactly what is that wind direction going to be? Is it going to be northwest? And if it is, then it's more of northwest Indiana's problem and Michigan's problem. If we have more of a northeasterly wind component, it's Chicago's problem. It's northeastern Illinois. So the overall trend has changed a bit in comparison to even 24 hours ago. Yesterday, it was looking like we could be getting several inches of snow right here in Chicago. But today's models are bringing in a more northwesterly wind component, meaning that it's shifting it into northwest Indiana. So it's really going to be something to watch as we get closer to Wednesday into Thursday. But that time frame, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, that's going to be something that you really have to watch, especially for those of you that maybe travel through northwest Indiana toward the city. Your commute on Thursday, I think, is going to be very, very different than what, folks coming in from the west suburbs. So it's really going to be something to watch as we get closer to. But then later this week, even after that event, we have several Clipper systems coming through. And by the way, Clippers, those are just basically fast-moving storm systems that come down from Canada. So we'll have a few of those late this week, adding a dusting to the area. And I'm saying all this to say...
You know where we're going.
Yes, the Bears game this weekend.
But the Bears, who some want to shift to Indiana.
They may have a little bit more snow. That's right. But on Sunday, so as of now, the forecast looks dry. But something, Anita, that maybe we're going to have in our
arsenal
favor here, yes, is that it is going to be very cold. So we're counting on high temperatures that are going to be around 18 degrees. Of course, we don't know the time of that game yet. But regardless, if it's going to be an early afternoon game, if it's going to be a late afternoon game, either way you slice it, it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. We're counting on high temperatures that are going to be in the upper teens, but it's also going to be windy. So the wind chill factor, Anita, is going down to near zero, if not sub-zero. So for the Bears, it's cold, but
we've been there.
We can handle it.
Can't say the same for LA.
Exactly. So maybe, just maybe, that really cold forecast could be playing in our favor going into Sunday.
Maybe that was that little sliver of sunshine.
Yeah.
It was the Lord saying, I got you.
I got you.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah. So it's going to be a very, very cold Sunday for us. But I think Bears fans are ready. I think the Bears are ready. And we'll just see if, the team from LA can handle, I can't say handle the heat, but handle the cold.
Yeah. The weather plays such a significant role in these games.
Yeah.
Look, these players can play through, lots of things. But even going back to this past Saturday, you prepared us for what was, but I looked at one point in time, like first thing in the morning, all right, it's snowing, it looks ugly, the field is covered. Finally, they roll back the cover, and then
sunshine,
it started
and then it
snowing
snowed again.
Yeah.
A little bit all over the place, but it's Chicago in the wintertime. It's January after all, and so far we've been very lucky with the weather forecast. Outside of the beginning of December, which was a doozy for a lot of us, but since then, Mother Nature's kind of calmed down, but I think we're starting to pick things back up here.
Okay, in terms of winter.
In terms of winter, yes.
Yeah. All right, so lots to prepare for, just like the Bears. The fans, we've got to prepare for some things as well as we get ready for Sunday's game. And as she mentioned, and I'll just reiterate, we don't know the time of the game yet. We don't know the network. We're hoping it would be us.
Yes.
But we don't know the network just yet where the game is going to be available for viewing. but we know that the Bears are playing on Sunday.
Yes.
That's enough for now. We're excited
It's
about
enough for
that.
smiles, and we can get excited about it and just get your bear suit, the ones that you can wear and you look cozy, you feel cozy.
Look, you look smart.
Yeah.
You look smart. I've seen people out in them. You look smart.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming up, letting us know what's happening. All of this roller coaster that we're on, she's going to continue to be our captain, guiding us through it. We appreciate you. 2:56, everyone. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Right, we're coming up on the 3 o'clock hour, and before we get to it, let's just take a look at how things are going on the stock market today. Very mixed picture that we have here on your screen. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about what's going on between the president, the Department of Justice, and the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. And so the day started in peril, really, on the stock market. But things are starting to rally now off of some session lows that we had here today. Dow Jones, as you can see, up 90 points at this point in time. But at one point, it was down nearly 500 points. The S&P 500. So we've taken a drastic turn in a better direction here, ticking up quite a bit here. There's plenty, again, of background here as to what's going on. A lot of it pointing back to these issues between the president, the Fed chair. Still waiting to hear more about that. But right now, things are in the green, and so that's what we like to see. All right, we'll continue to monitor that, see where things close for the day. But now that it's 3 o'clock, let me just tell you a little bit about some of the things that we have coming up in this hour. We're going to take a quick break before we get to them. But before we go to break, let me let you know what you can expect here. So we're going to talk. I'm actually really excited about this. We're going to talk with an executive with White Castle as they get prepared for Valentine's Day. Now, if you don't know how they do it up for Valentine's Day, you really got to hear about it. And if you know what they do for Valentine's Day and how special it has really become for a lot of people, then you need to know the significance of today. in getting to Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up at the latter portion of this hour. Right around 3:15, we're going to talk about the real deal effects when we say cardiac bears. It's more than just a word. I mean, everyone, and we can't say it enough, we're all riding on this high from watching our team come back from being way down. I mean, like the stock market, what we were just looking at. Come back from being way down. I mean, at one point in time, going into halftime, you really thought like, well, we have really done it this time. We were way too far behind to pull this one out. And then little by little in the third quarter, you're thinking, now, wait a minute. This defense has gotten a lot better. This offense is starting to move along. We've got a chance. I'm saying we've got a chance. And then we pulled it off. But our hearts were going the whole time. And so when we say cardiac bears, well, maybe there's a little bit more to that. We're going to talk with an actual doctor about that term cardiac bears and the real aspects of it. And then when we come back from this short break here, we're going to be talking with the Better Business Bureau about the top scams so far in 2026. And that does include scammers who are targeting Bears fans. 2 minutes and we'll be right back. All right, 3:04 now, starting out a new year, and we all want to be on the right page, start the new year off right here. But scammers are always busy. Start of the year, end of the year, middle of the year, they are always busy. Steve Burness with the Better Business Bureau, though, is helping us to know what's happening so that we can all steer clear of some of the things that are happening. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, so we're looking at the list that was just revealed from the Better Business Bureau, from you all's research of the top 10 local scams to watch out for in 2026. What's topping the list?
What's topping this year and for the 6th year in a row is online purchases. Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more people buying online. And we see that was the case for the holiday shopping season. It's continuing on. Ever since the pandemic, the consumers have become more comfortable buying online. And guess what? The scammer goes where the money is at as well. So for the 6th year in a row, we have these fake websites that are out there, or counterfeit websites, whatever you want to call them. They look real, authentic. until you don't get the product, or you get a counterfeit product, or your identity is stolen. And the problems we're seeing is that on the right side, you ever look for something, and then a few hours later or a few minutes later, you'll see an ad appear on the side that's the product you were looking for at a reduced price. But you click on that link, you don't know who it is. It's just on the right rail from, you might be on Facebook or one of the other social media accounts, and it's not them. It's an imposter on that side. So just be careful buying online.
Yeah. And then speaking of things online, you have these phishing scams that come at you too. And I mean, inevitably, we've heard of them for quite some time. I'm sure maybe they look different from time to time, but we always hear about somebody clicking on something.
We do. Unfortunately, happens time and time again, but it's not only affecting consumers, it's also affecting businesses. We had a business recently, a law firm had to pay $1 million to get their files back from the scammer. So when you click on a link on an email coming in or a text from a scammer, they can put spam or malware on your computer, and you have to be very careful because if you click on that link, that could happen to your computer. It could lock it up. It can hold it hostage. It can put mail spamware, or it can track what you're doing, things of that nature. So it's best never to click on a link if you weren't expecting it. If you think it's your bank or your mortgage company or your credit card company, deal with them directly. Just don't click on those links. And it's a 30-minute rule on a lot of these top 10 scams. If somebody wants you to do something in 30 minutes or less and quickly and urgently, that's usually what we call the tip-off to the rip-off.
Oh, tip off to the rip off. Yes, yes. And you mentioned the fact that, like, hey, a law firm had to do this, not just individuals. There are also these employment scams. I have gotten so many texts that say, like, oh, I'm offering you this job. And you're like, huh? Where'd this even come from?
Yeah, we're seeing an increase in that as well. Is when you put your resume online or you join those websites, your information is out there. So the scammer knows that, and is basically trying to steal your identity. So they're saying that they have these elaborate jobs. You guaranteed you've got it, and they're getting a little bit more elaborate now, where they're actually going through interviews with you. So we had one consumer recently who went through 3 separate interviews, thinking, "Hey, this has got a legitimate offer."
Oh my goodness.
Because they actually went through 3 interviews. So she was comfortable in giving her social security number out, her mother's maiden name, and her bank account number. And guess what? Her identity was stolen. So if somebody calls you out of blue saying you got a job, or you get a text, like you said, we're all getting them, don't fall for those as well. Make sure that you deal with reputable sites and stay on that website. Don't leave those sites.
Oh, that was quite the example there. How about counterfeit products and these advance fee loans?
Counterfeit products have been around a long time. They continue to, the problem is exacerbating because of the internet and the ease of getting these products. A lot of times consumers don't realize sometimes they're buying from organizations that sell counterfeit products, and you're not knowing it is a counterfeit product. Think if it's a life-saving equipment like a smoke detector or battery or something like that. So again, it's deal with reputable firms that you know and trust, and just don't go with the company because of the lowest prices. And we're seeing a lot of these, those ads that I mentioned earlier on the online purchase, they pop up on the side, and these are companies that, some of them are in China, that send you counterfeit products that you think you're getting something authentic, and it's not. We all end up paying for it, but again, sometimes these are life-saving equipment, that these are counterfeit products, and we see the government all the time always confiscating things at O'Hare or Midway that are counterfeit in scope, from clothes to electronic equipment or anything like that. And advance fee loans has been around. I started 38 years ago, and one of my first complaints was advance fee loan scams. It happened back then, and it's continuing on today. You get, people are down on their luck. They're looking for ways of paying off their loans. They go online, they look for, low cost loans, and the scammers buy these ads saying no credit check necessary. We will not look at your credit. Guaranteed, loan. Nobody can guarantee you a loan. And make sure that you don't fall for those types of advance fees. It's against the law to ask for a fee in advance, but the scammers don't care. They want your credit card number, your identity, your social security number, in some way in stealing your identity. So be very careful of advance fee loans. And the tip-off to the rip-off on that is anybody asking for money in advance for a loan.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm thinking as you were talking about the counterfeit products, I saw this purse online. It was a Louis Vuitton purse, and it said $150 under it. And I'm like, if it looks too good to be true, guys, sometimes it just is. I mean, come on, it just wasn't. It wasn't a real thing. So I think this next one, actually, the employment example that you gave, it fits both employment and also number 6, which is identity theft. The information that she gave away, it fits under both.
It does. And identity theft is increasing at alarming rates. It's still the fastest growing white collar crime today. It's not a matter of if, but a matter of when your identity will be stolen. My identity was stolen several times. The former, Attorney General Lisa Madigan, her identity was stolen several times. So you can't prevent it. You can do all you can, but you can't prevent it. You guys know how to react when it does happen, and try to be proactive and not giving information to people to help them steal your identity. Don't fill out those raffle tickets online where they ask you all those personal questions. What street did you live on, and all those things. They're trying to grab passwords from you, or those phishing emails, and ultimately they want to steal your identity. And you get those imposters that are calling. They're saying they're from government. They all want to steal your identity in some way, and that's why it's so alarming. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It will happen to every American. Please make sure you get your credit report at least once a year at annualcreditreport.com. That's the website that is endorsed by the government to get your credit report. I'd get it at least several times a year at least, because it's free, and this is the first way of finding out if you become a victim of identity theft or not.
Steve, I promise you, my computer just rebooted while we were talking, and I was like, did somebody get me while I'm talking to you? I was taken aback for a moment. I got like 50% of what you said, but I was like, what's happening over here? Anyway, credit cards are number 7 on your list.
Credit card offers, you got a lot of fictitious offers. They're coming from a credit card company. We give credit to anybody. It's almost like those advanced fee loans, but they're saying they're from the credit card company and they can help you really reduce interest rates, and they're not. Then they ask you to fill out the application for the credit card offer, and guess what? You're giving them everything they need to steal your identity. Like you said earlier, if the offer seems too good to be true, it usually is. Check out the offers first. Don't click on those links. Check out who's behind those offers. If you can't check anything out or there's nothing on there, that's a sign too that something is amiss, because everybody should have some type of profile out there, especially if they're giving out credit cards. But again, deal with your local banks, credit unions, those types of companies or organizations that you know and trust. Ignore those emails or texts or ads saying that we can help you in really ridiculous ways, saying that you don't even check your credit. You have to have your credit checked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should. Absolutely. Regardless of whether you want to see what it says or not, you should get it checked. And let's cover the next 2 here: debt collections and then government agency imposters.
Debt collections are people that are scammers that send out information that you owe a debt. Sometimes they read the obituaries, unfortunately, and then they send it to the spouse of that person who just recently passed. In Illinois, at least, there's a requirement that they have to give you the information on the debt. They have to. If they say you owe a debt, they have to send you the information of what it is. So many times consumers get alarmed and they just pay it. They just pay a debt that wasn't even theirs, or it was fictitious in ways. So if you ever get a call out of the blue, or somebody has recently passed and they're saying they owe money, ask them to prove it, send it to you in writing, and make sure you contact somebody first before giving that, because it may not be your debt that is owed. And again, what we said on government imposters, so many times consumers, caller ID, most consumers don't realize can be spoofed. So I can say I'm calling from, XYZ company, and I'm not. A lot of times they use government agencies, so it could be IRS, Social Security Administration, saying that something's wrong with your account, your benefits are stopped, or you're going to jail. The IRS says you're going to jail because you didn't pay taxes, or the police department saying you didn't pay a ticket and there's a warrant for your arrest. But if you give us money, we'll take care of it. Again, government doesn't do that, imposters. They don't send out, government doesn't rather send out information saying they're going to go to jail or you're going to act quickly. They do it through normal channels, through mail. And if you think it's the government, just hang up with that person and call number that you know for that agency itself. But the caller ID throws people off. My sister-in-law, unfortunately, she gave her Social Security number out. It said Social Security Administration. She thought it was accurate because of them, and she unfortunately gave out her number, like so many Americans do.
Oh my goodness. I hate that for your sister. Thank you that you're alerting us to these things. Number 10 is retail business. And then I want to talk about an aspect of this, because you in here talk about a growing impersonation of trusted retail brands such as Amazon, Apple, Walmart, many others. I'm thinking that could also include like Ticketmaster right now while everyone's looking for Bears tickets.
It happens all the time, especially in the retail environment, the Amazons and those other retail environments where they actually send you an email saying, we have problem accessing your account. Click here. And they want access to your account to purchase things, send it to their address, or steal your identity in some way. So it can be a combination of identity theft as well, because identity theft fits a lot of these things. But especially in the retail environment, if just because you get an email doesn't mean it's authentic and from that organization, because you have to hover over that email address or that link, and it may be going somewhere else. And sometimes we've seen where there's an extra zero or an extra O in the URL, which is the address of that organization, so it's not them. So it's best for you to click on the go directly to those stores and organizations. Don't follow those links. A lot of people get in trouble when they follow those links that are sent to you an email or a text. Last week we're seeing a surge of emails come out saying, thank you for purchasing the TV. It has been applied to your credit card. But if you didn't order it, click here. Well, you click there, you call them up. I didn't order it to you. Oh, you didn't? To have your credit card number, I will put reimbursement on your account then. Again, that's them trying to steal your identity. So be very careful. Anybody calls you out of the blue, if the offer seems to be true, it usually is. And report these scams to the Better Business Bureau. We have a scam tracker that keeps track of all these scams all across North America, that really helps us, let the authorities know, because they have access to our database, the police departments and the courts all across the U.S. and Canada. And it also stops other consumers from falling victim to these scams. You may not fall for it, but somebody in your family or your friends may.
One final question, and I'm going to let you go here, because I'm not understanding why we're seeing the overall volume of the top local scams spike off the charts this year.
It is spiked over the charts. I think more and more people are online. The scammers are online, and they're putting a lot of fear, at least of fear in there, and some high emotion ones. One high emotion is that, wow, congratulations, you won the lottery. Or the fear, like I mentioned, you just bought a TV. This is not you, click here. They're using both an emotional side, and it's working. There's not enough police, government, courts to put scammers out of business. The only way to put scams out of business is not to give them your business. I've been doing this for 38 years at the Better Business Bureau, and it's disheartening to see that consumers do all the checking after they've been scammed. They should have done the checking before they've been scammed on those offers instead of falling for them. Check with the Better Business Bureau. Check other sources before doing business with the company, because there's so much information out there online. But at alarming rates, the scammers are growing, and we're seeing it each and every day. And it's, I think most people are online now and buying online. Buying online is safe if you're dealing with reputable organizations, but the scammers on the weeds trying to get some more information or steal your identity.
And always getting smarter as to how they go about it. Thank you so much, Steve. We always appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. We'll see you again, I'm sure. It's 3:20 right now. And when we're talking about, you heard me mention, like, hey, a lot of people are also looking for Bears tickets. A lot of Bears fans looking for tickets right now, or maybe merchandise. You want something new to wear to the game or before the game, because we're riding off the high from the last game. All of these things. And you just think about, we're in an afterglow of a very stressful situation that was on Saturday's game. Hearts were pounding. We didn't know how things were going to go down. And yet again, we say, the cardiac bears have come out on top. Well, there is a little more to it when we say cardiac bears. Dr. Arjun Mehta is joining me now. He's from Rush University Medical Center. It's not just a euphemism when we say cardiac bears.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me. So, when we look back at some of the studies during these major sporting events, we do see an increase in cardiac disease. Particularly, they did a study during the World Cup in Germany in 2006. And during the periods of time when the German team was playing, you saw higher cardiac event rates. And particularly that was in patients who had coronary artery disease or heart artery blockages. Those patients were most prone to having a cardiac event.
So what is and what is not happening to your heart? I mean, you described some of the things that are, but what's not? I mean, how do we know, like, maybe I went a little too far in my pushing for the team? I mean, I'm not out on the field versus, hey, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I myself, I'm very excited and invested in this Bears team. I've been a fan since I was, I'm born and raised in Chicago, so it's an exciting event. But yeah, again, just trying to keep even keeled as much as possible, which is really tough when we've had 7 comeback wins. But it's not the end of the world if we lose, although it may feel like it. And I think particularly for the patients who have underlying cardiac conditions like coronary artery disease, like heart failure, like atrial fibrillation, some of these things can be exacerbated. This can be like gasoline on the fire. One thing you can also do is, obviously during a stressful event, people are prone to overindulging in alcohol and salty foods. Trying to avoid those two things can help prevent the situation from becoming catastrophic. So I think those are some good tips to follow.
Let me say on the flip side, I mean, it's a very serious situation if it's, you have some type of underlying issue there, of course. For folks who are otherwise healthy, you probably don't feel the healthiest when your heart's going, bah, but anyhow, is it actually possibly some level of good that's happening, like a little cardio in your day that when you're out there screaming and whatnot?
There's no evidence to suggest that, but however, obviously, if you're active up and about, that is some form of cardio. In general, for people who are healthy, watching a close Bears game shouldn't cause any long-term issues, unless, of course, there's binge drinking involved. Binge drinking can lead to the condition called atrial fibrillation more often because the alcohol, especially in large amounts, can affect the electrical system of the heart.
Dr. Mehta, I'm sure no one was drinking during that game. No one. You're a cardiologist. What do you think of people calling them the cardiac bears?
Well, it's not my preference because obviously for me, when I hear cardiac, I think of a cardiac arrest, and that's when I'm on the job and I'm trying to enjoy during the Bears game. But no, I mean, they've definitely left everything till the last, at least the last half. I was actually at the game this weekend, and it was exhilarating. But yeah, it's almost like a cardiac resuscitation would be the more accurate word. I hope this next game they choose to do what they do in the second half, in the first half and second half.
Yeah, absolutely. From the jump, we're all hoping that we don't have to wait until the very last minute, for this pain to joy. We want joy throughout, not joy and pain in one game, because it's just a lot on all of us. Did you feel after the game, like, how long did it take you to come back down to earth after the game?
Oh, quite a while. I mean, I'll tell you, that was an exciting win. I was there with my wife and Valeria. She was there with me, and we had a great time. Um, but definitely was difficult to fall asleep afterward. So, one thing I suggested when speaking on this matter to another group of people was yoga, meditation, deep breathing exercises. All of these things have proven benefits to sort of help you find your center again and get you at least to bed earlier.
We should all practice them. I would hope that all Bears fans have learned some meditation over the course of this season for us to make it this far. If not, yes, people need to adopt that very quickly here. How does the cold that we're anticipating this upcoming weekend, for those like yourself who were at the game this past weekend, this weekend is expected to have, we were just listening to our chief meteorologist, like the wind chill could be below zero. So how does the cold air factor into this, if at all?
Yeah, that's a good point. And especially if you're going to the game, I'd really like to emphasize a very important point is if you have pre-existing cardiac disease, if you have heart failure, if you have coronary artery disease, if you have an arrhythmia, some of these things can get exacerbated. And part of the mechanism for why they get exacerbated is that when you're out in the cold, the blood vessels tend to tighten up, they tend to constrict, and that can put additional pressure on the cardiovascular system. So if you're where I was sitting, which is far up in the 400 level, we had hand warmers, we had those body warmers and multiple layers. So definitely staying warm can help you prevent catastrophic cardiac outcomes.
Dr. Meadow, we always appreciate your time and having you here. I'm going to quickly get you off of this line before we move to talking about White Castle.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Take care. It's 3:28. You can't talk, the cardiologist does not want to hear a conversation about what's going on, the meals that we have at White Castle. But we are going to talk about it because they always have a stunning Valentine's spread for so many people. And it's really become a very special day, a very special outing for a lot of people. So we're going to be able to talk with the Chief Marketing Officer of White Castle coming up around 3:45. Really looking forward to that. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more. All right, welcome back, everyone. 3:31 right now. Looking forward to this next conversation. We were just talking about the cardiac bears, and here's another angle to the Bears fandom, and this kind of takes things up to a different level here. A much higher level, if you will. We're going to talk about a Pope Leo football fan jersey that's for sale right now. Our next guest is joining me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. Tell me a little bit about your company and this moment for you all.
Sure. So our company is Catholic Imprint. It's a family ministry based in the western suburbs in Plainfield. But we have a nationwide reach. We help dioceses, parishes, churches, schools, and nonprofits with evangelization. So, things like prayer cards, banners, apparel, things like that. We've been around since 2023. I was in the marketing corporate world, for close to 20 years. And during COVID, started to do a little bit of a pivot. And my wife and I and daughter started this ministry. And we thought, what a better way to celebrate, our new Pope, our Chicago Pope, with tying together faith, sports, and messaging together. It was a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity, a beautiful effort. Love your why. Has anyone called into question the irony of someone named John Paul being behind it?
Yeah. Not yet, but I get that all the time, though, when I do talk to our every day-to-day customers, the churches and all that. Oh, John Paul, are you named after the Pope? And I'm like, yes, I was born after he was elected, but yeah, that's there for sure. I get that a lot.
It's pretty sweet. All right. So tell me, this is, as we said, your products are Chicago made here. How are you getting the word out? I mean, this is a part of it, but do you feel like the word is really getting out to people about what you're doing? Because it's not just about selling a product again. You're really helping out.
Yeah, definitely. When we were thinking about how can we help support really Pope Leo's mission, when where he started, he spent years in South America, and his calls during his Wednesday audiences is, to go out there and support the community, the poorest of the poor. So we wanted to just partner and have some of the proceeds benefit Catholic Charities of Chicago and the Joliet Catholic Diocese, their Catholic Charities program as well, and so we could really help the needy directly. So yeah, we have the faith aspect, we have the sports, and then also giving back to the community. It was really important.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you have found something else if the Bears weren't doing so well? I mean, this was kind of given to you here. Well, maybe it was a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. We started with the football jerseys around September, but they've really taken up in popularity now. A lot of word of mouth. It's also a great tool for local ministries to do their own fundraising, so that's possible too. So a lot like Knights of Columbus chapters locally, they've done some great fundraising of their own. So we really want to make it affordable to people directly, but also we're blessed to have a great partner that manufactures them right here in Chicago, and that was another very important piece to us designing the jersey and making it.
Now, how quickly can you turn them around? Because something tells me as more people find out, they're going to want to come to you. But this game is on Sunday. Can they get it that quickly?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was coming to this beautiful segment with you here, and just before I was on the phone with the manufacturers, how many can we get out? We had about 300 or so orders ready to go by this morning. But we're going to try to get some more out, hopefully another 400 to 600 by Friday, if possible. So
Okay, you're ready. You are ready. I like the preparation, just like the Bears. Prepare for it. Don't wait till the last minute, though. Don't have that part.
We don't want that
again. I think the world of what you all are doing, I hope that people really support it because there's so much more to it. Before doing this, I mean, what's your Bears fandom like? What has cheering on the Bears been like before doing this?
Bears fandom has been, with family and friends, and also in my previous marketing days, it was working in the restaurant industry and hospitality. So it was really with other Chicago area restaurant industry people putting on different events. Me being the marketer, I always was in the back of the scene, behind the scenes. With the Bears fandom, but always want to come out there and celebrate and cheer on the Bears. Also, every time they play, I'm right there, and my wife and daughter, I would say they're even bigger fans than I am.
I like to hear that. Girls love football too.
Oh yeah.
In prior seasons, though, we didn't get to cheer for this long.
No, definitely not. I believe we've always been, we were always true to the Bears and stuck with them all the time. So, but it's definitely a nice treat to see this turnaround and a new Bears that we're seeing this season. So we're definitely looking forward to the Sunday's game.
Now, be it that you combine the things that you do in your job, what do you attribute the Bears turnaround to?
I would say definitely just the new coaching style. I believe the motivation, the after the game scenes that you see the coach motivating his team. I think it's a multifaceted approach that was taken to see this new Bears, but I see huge changes there with the coach. So I think I attribute it there too, but maybe a little bit of divine intervention.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. We finally got a pope from Chicagoland, and then something happened. Some say Ben Johnson, some might say it's the Pope.
Yeah.
Wonderful chatting with you. Where can people find your jerseys? How can people help you in helping others?
Sure. Well, thank you in advance for helping our cause, helping our various charities. If you'd like to go and get a jersey, you can visit popejersey.com. And we also have the baseball jersey that'll be coming back also. So those are all available at popejersey.com.
Now, the baseball jersey, is that in honor of the Sox or the Cubs?
It's like an in between. We have it's more Vatican City colors with yellow and white. So it could be either or.
It's very smart, John Paul. Wonderful chatting with you. Thanks so much for joining the show today. I hope that you sell out.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a great day.
Take care. John Paul. Oh, I meant John Paul. No one could. Well, maybe someone did know what he would be doing one day. Who am I to say? All right, it's about 3:40, everyone. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring in that conversation about what's happening starting today to get ready for Valentine's Day, especially if you are going to be spending it at White Castle. Some people say White Castle. Oh, but others say, oh, yeah. If you don't know, soon you will know. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with that. 3:42 right now. Let me set up this next conversation here. What began in 1991 as a heartfelt, unexpected way to celebrate Valentine's Day has grown into a fan favorite annual event for one night only. White Castle team members go above and beyond to create a festive sit-down dining experience complete with hostess seating, tableside service, and Valentine's Day decor throughout the restaurant. I'm so happy to have White Castle's Chief Marketing Officer, Jamie Richardson, joining me now to talk more about the significance of today, getting ready for that moment. Thanks so much for your time.
It is so great to be here with you. We are counting down and gearing up for White Castle to become a Love Castle.
The Love Castle will strike again. And today is important for you all. Why?
Today, reservations are open and they are going fast. It is so wild. So castle number 63, just down the street from your studios, already has reservations pouring in. So that's right out on South Wabash. But it's very exciting for us. Last year, we served over 30,000 cravers, their Valentine's love meal. And, couples come together, families gather. It's just a great, great part of our family-owned heritage. And this is our 35th year. And on a Saturday night, so we can't wait. We're very excited.
We said unexpected way. What was the unexpected way this all got started?
It was at one of our castles in St. Louis, and a team member had the idea, what if we took reservations for Valentine's Day? And a colleague in marketing, Kelly Collins, ran with it. And the next thing you know, we had one castle that was full on Valentine's Day on a Monday night. And then the idea went from St. Louis to Minneapolis, and pretty soon it was all castles everywhere. So it's something we can't wait for each year. And our general managers do such a wonderful job. They roll out the red carpet, literally. Sometimes a violin player or a cellist will show up. You never know what's going to happen. It's just completely unexpected and a great, great evening.
I feel like early in life, let me say it that way, early in life, White Castle was kind of looked at the place you went like, after the club, it was like late night type of eating, to kind of soak things up. And so to hear about people going for Valentine's Day, I'm sure had to catch people off guard in the beginning.
Well, we would never deny our late night heritage. When the sun goes down, White Castle becomes Night Castle. So we're there for all of our cravers round the clock. But there's just something fun. And, in a world that's got all these different expectations and, how's this going to look wherever, if I post it here or there, and everyone trying to go to what's next. Sometimes the elegant solution's right there in front of you. And that's what we want to be, is that wonderful place where you can have a great, memorable evening and enjoy some hot and tasty food, and just not take it too seriously, but have a lot of fun along the way too.
Now, what do you say to the lady whose guy is like, babe, I'm taking you to White Castle? She's like, huh? Me?
Well, that's where, he could give her a chicken ring instead of a wedding ring or an engagement ring to get things started. So there's all kinds of possibilities. And, famous individuals like Mark Cuban say that's how he knew his wife was the one, when he took her to White Castle and she loved it. So it could be the ultimate love test.
The love test. I like it. And 35 years strong, have you all tried to keep it the same? Sometimes there is a benefit to consistency, and sometimes you got to switch things up over time.
Yeah, that's a great question. And what we love about this is we have been certified as a great place to work 5 years in a row, primarily because our general managers do such a great job. So each one of those individuals has been with us on average 21 years. We let them run with it. So we give them a budget to work with. They decorate their castle, and every one of them has a slightly different take on it with a similar theme in terms of bringing people together and having fun. We print special menus. We do tableside seating and ordering, and bring out our fine linens, no paper napkins that evening. Or maybe just a few. But I think part of the magic of it is not overthinking it and allowing our teams to have fun as well. So it's something we look forward to every single year.
Do you have a list of the Chicago, or do you kind of know offhand the Chicago locations for anyone who's watching and thinking like, where are the White Castles around here.
Absolutely. So there's 65 locations, the greater Chicagoland area. And so rather than rattle them all off, I just encourage you to go out and check them out on our website. If you put in your own address, it will tell you which castles are closest, and they'll show up with, you'll know it because they'll have a little heart beside that castle location to make sure you know which ones it is that will be serving up Valentine's Day. And yeah, all 65 are participating. So we're really, really looking forward to great times together.
All 65 are participating. Wonderful to hear that. I'm sure. Do people try to the owners, do they try to do kind of competitions among themselves?
Well, we would never judge. We love to invite people in for the best of times. And so, if you want to get that large drink and one straw or two, that's up to you. With our Coca-Cola freestyle machines, you can have your own mixed beverages. But I think for us, the competition more is about collaboration, getting together with friends and family and having a great evening out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are some of the best stories that you've heard?
Oh my goodness. Well, the ones that are always stay close to our hearts are those where engagements happen. There've been weddings in our castles on Valentine's Day. So that just really means a lot. And then there was one couple that drove all the way. They had lived in Chicago. They moved to Montana. They both had Valentine's Day off. They kind of looked at one another and gave a little head nod. Next thing you know, they were in the car driving from Montana to Chicago. They went to their White Castle reservation, caught a nap at one of their parents' house, turned around and drove home so they could be to work on time the next day. So, yeah, that's devotion.
That is true devotion. I hope they are still happily together to this day. We are admiring your shirt over here and wondering how much of your wardrobe is White Castle themed.
99.4% at last count. But yeah, that's only because I got some stuff at Christmas that wasn't White Castle, but we'll fix that.
You got to talk to
this
Santa
is the White
about
Castle
that.
shirt, actually. So available on the House of Crave if anyone's want to get one for themselves.
All right, so reservations are open today. Anything else that people need to know? I mean, if they're going fast, what do people need to know?
Go ahead and pick your castle, and then we'll be open for the seating, for the reservation seating from 4 p to 9 p. So you can start early or end late, whatever fits best for you. And if you need more information, you can check it out on our website or on our app. There's lots of great information in the White Castle app, including about our desserts. It'd be a great way to end the evening. So an exclamation point with strawberry swirl cheesecake on a stick and easily portable. So great times ahead, and we can't wait to see everybody on Valentine's Day.
Wonderful stuff. Great chatting with you, Jamie. You're pretty awesome. And I can't wait for the videos and the pictures and more stories to come, more memories that will be made.
Crave on, my friend. Thank you very much.
Take care. Oh, goodness. He's great. A great representative of the company. He's got us hyped now for Valentine's Day. If you're spending it at White Castle, and yes, some people think, White Castle? Don't knock it till you try it. 3:51. We'll be right back. 3:54 right now, and we're taking you back down to Houston. Actually, we're going to talk about a couple of things that we've been watching over the last couple of hours here. Much better picture, at least from this vantage point now in Houston, as these firefighters have been valiantly trying to get out a 3-alarm fire right off of I-45 there. You can see them still on top of the ladder, pouring water onto the buildings here, but not seeing any more like thick black smoke in the air, although you can see damage even from this vantage point. So this was a church property in North Houston where the fire broke out, but it has not been used. The buildings here have not been used as a functional church in a while. What we do know is that all 3 buildings, though, on the property were all involved in the fire. So the firefighters definitely had their hands full for quite some time, and that's why we've been checking back and forth with them, because at one point it looked like they were just working on one structure, and then all of a sudden you think, oh no, they actually had 3 buildings that were all involved in the fire. So it's unclear what this property was being used for since the congregation moved out of the church. We still don't know how the fire started or the cause of the fire, but all of those things we're hoping to learn in some time. Our sister station down there is working to get more information, and as soon as we have any updates, you'll probably find them either on the air or online here on our website. Let's switch you over to the stock market today and see how things closed, because it's been quite a mixed picture today as we've been looking. The day started off really bad. Really bad. As you can see there, we were looking at the steep lows this morning, but things rallied, and it's at least good to see we finished in the green here, up 86 points for the Dow Jones there. The S&P 500 rose 0.16%. Also, we're seeing, the NASDAQ composite was up 0.26% by the end of the day. And I'm seeing that the major averages rebounded off of their worst levels of this session. So that's good to be able to see. There's a lot behind this. If you're just now seeing this, so we have been kind of following it for a while this morning into this evening, because of the new information coming out of Washington that the DOJ has now subpoenaed the Fed chair's office there. So more information we're waiting on that, as that's kind of all playing out as well, how that will affect the market in the days and weeks to come, what will happen between President Trump, the DOJ, and also, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, who is now really coming to an unprecedented point. Both aspects of this unprecedented. One, that we're seeing the DOJ subpoena the Fed chair's office, but then on the other side, that the Fed chair really isn't going on down without a fight. That he's actually taken the time to put out a video clarifying his stance on things. Both unprecedented, things we have not seen before. We'll see what happens from here. The Fed chair, his time in office isn't up until his appointment isn't up until May. He has served under 4 presidents, both Republican and Democratic. But now this has really come to a very different place. So we'll see if 4 months is a long time from now, or if he even makes it to 4 months, or, if he does make it to 4 months, and then at that point in time, he will go on to the Board of Governors. So this could go many different ways, but this today on the stock market, it was a mixed bag in a large part because of that. So there's a lot that we are continuing to monitor. There's a lot that's going to be coming up on the news at 4 o'clock. We always appreciate you being here for Chicago Live, and we'll see you back here from 1 to 4 tomorrow.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at 4.
Now, a 4-woman shot outside a Chicago hospital is in bad shape. What police know about the car that